to us to inspire that hope and that excitement in them. You know, you said about going down the hall and patting on the back. Well, it's gonna be more elbow bumps, you know, and getting to say hello to each other, again, with all of the other safety precautions. But it just looks different. But it doesn't mean that it has to be scary and you know, that you're all alone. You know, there's still that verbal interaction and eye contact, and so much that can be communicated that way.
You're right. Instead of a fist bump, you do like the elbow bump, and it's just
yeah.
teaching the kids, right? Yeah, you know this. I mean, and it's something that they could get used to, the new normal, right? Gracie, I want to ask really what we're talking about. How will enforcement occur between classes during PE, before and after school? Leah Mackey is asking, are the kids going to have to wear masks? Is that going to be mandatory?
Well, at West Oso, that's the position we're taking. Once we come back, that face mask, all of the other recommendations that we continue that what adults are doing with the social distancing and washing hands and smaller classes, etc. But that also will continue with how we view athletics and the things that we do in that environment, what we do with band and what we do with choir and so on. And to use other spaces at times within your schedule, such as gyms, when they're not in use, or cafeteria that's a big space, or libraries, which is a big space, that you can do more of downsizing those particular programs. Like for example, we started football practice and volleyball, etc. If you look at our football plan that we submitted to our board, and you'll notice that we have face shields and questionnaires and temperature checks, and I mean, and nobody's assigned a locker, or they have to have their own water bottle, and I can go on and on and on.
Yeah, you're getting ahead of me on that one, Conrado, because I'm going to ask you about extracurricular activities, knowing that West Oso, along with other school districts, started UIL practice on Monday. So I want to talk about that specifically coming up in just a little bit. But in the meantime, a show of hands, are face masks required in every school district?
I just wanted to share something to go back on that. Yes, we're requiring face masks, but on the social distancing, you know, a big goal of ours is just to limit the amount of people in any one particular place. So we'll have staggered times. We won't be letting the kids transition all at the same time between classes, into cafeterias, things like that. We'll have all the appropriate signage where it needs to be, where some hallways might have been both directions at one time, could become one-way hallways. So it'll be very limited access to where everybody's together at the same time. And then we would be practicing that social distance. It's going to take a whole team effort to make sure it happens.
It is. It's going to take everybody to make sure that it's enforced, and really, like Dr. Cavazos is saying, just teaching the kids something new, right? And not making it scary. But hey, guys, this is the new normal for now. Dalia Carranza has asked, are kids going to be tested before going back to school? And Mario Salinas adds to that, saying, will they be tested before going back to face-to-face? And if so, how often?
As far as COVID-19 testing for positivity, is that the question, Katia?
Yes, Steve. So will kids be tested for COVID-19 before going to school?
That's what I want. That's what I want the federal government and to pass through to the state government. Think about this. If we could have daily, unintrusive testing of every one of our kids, teachers, whoever would come into our building, if we could get point of care testing with immediate results, then we could go back to almost the way it was in March. But until that, then it's going to be very difficult.
Well, that capacity does not exist right now.
But I think it could, Conrado. I think we as a
could.
nation have the
But-
capability to do that.
Absolutely, and I'm with you on that thought process, but I'm just being candid that I wish it did exist. Believe me, that would solve a lot of our issues because we don't have an MD next to our name, and so we rely on the honesty of people, whether adults or we're going to rely on the honesty of the students as to where they've been. Have they been exposed? Have they, as somebody in the family, do they have fever? Have they been throwing up? Have they stopped eating? And I can go on and on and on. We all know that. But that's up to those individuals to tell you the truth.
Sorry, I was just going to add in lieu of that. I think those are good points, and that's a good question too. That's been the biggest problem I think that we've had, not only in context with children, but overall in terms of testing, that we haven't